Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Film Nobodies. Today we will be doing a film discussion on the movie Seven.
Wait, is it 6 or 7?
All right, I'm just going to end the video there. Thanks for watching, guys. No, that's crazy.
6, 7.
No, we're not doing this. We're not doing this. Brad Pitt, Morgan Freeman, directed by David Fincher. I think it's 1995 when that movie came out. A little older. I guess, 31 years old now. So, I love this movie. This has been close to the top of my list for a long time. Recently watched it again. Haven't changed my mind. And I guess the first thing I want to talk about with this movie is honestly the aesthetic. I think the aesthetic is very unique. And whenever I originally watched this movie, I was like, wow, this is a very dark, depressing vibe, it's very gritty.
Yeah.
And it's like, at first I was kind of just like, wow, I guess that's just how New York is. When I first watched it was a while ago. When I first watched it was like that. But now that I'm watching it for I think it's the third or fourth time, I'm starting to realize that it's supposed to be from the perspective of the detectives and from, spoiler alert, the main villain, Kevin Spacey. I think it's supposed to be their perspective of the world, because Morgan Freeman hates New York. He hates it. He hates the city. He sees it as just a place of brutality. And because New York is not, it's never been just a place where murder is rampant all the time. It happens, often, but it's not a rampant place. It's almost like a layer of hell in his perspective. It seems like to him it's just a place where horrible things happen. And I think it's supposed to be his perspective of New York. And so,
I hadn't thought about that. Yeah, it's probably good. Yeah.
So I find that very interesting because, I don't know, it gives you, it helps to immerse you in the story and what they have to deal with, because a lot of the actions that happen in this story are horrible. A lot of the kills from the serial killer. And I think it gets emphasized from this vibe, this perspective that we get immersed in, which is supposed to be, I think, Morgan Freeman's mindset and Kevin Spacey's mindset.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. It's just dark, gloomy, rainy.
Yeah, just a place you don't want to be, that
people
can
are
end up stuck
rude
in.
and mean. And
everybody's mean. Everybody is shitty and stuff.
But you're right. I think that was on purpose. Is you're living in their mind and the detective's perspective of that city. And I think it actually, now that you say that, I actually connect the dots with the whole Dante's Inferno piece, which was a part of them trying to research into the killer's mind. So maybe this was Morgan Freeman's personal Dante's Inferno kind of thing.
Yeah. And it's the only safe haven, the only two safe havens in the movie are the apartments.
Brad Pitt's apartment
and Morgan Freeman's apartment. It's quiet, calm. The only places that are not rainy, gloomy, it's calm. And then the library, which Morgan Freeman just loves. He just loves the library. So when he goes in there, everybody's chill. The guards are chill. It's a quiet place. Nobody else is in there ever. It's just him. And so I think it's supposed to represent the way he thinks.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I didn't think about that.
So I really appreciate that. And it kind of just emphasizes everything horrible that happens in this movie. Yeah. So
they did a great job immersing you in the mood of of the how they sense the city, and the mood of the movie was just dark and dreary and sad and depressing. It's God.
And they also like never focus on like anybody else really. Like they'll focus on the main characters and stuff, obviously, but it's so like the movie feels so subjective. Like when they're walking around together and in the street, there's never like these wide shots where they're seeing like the whole of the city. It's always like just them and their backdrop. You know what I mean? Like
That's a good point.
You never see like a full city block.
Yeah.
It's always them in the car.
Yeah.
It's always following them
Yeah.
specifically. So the movie feels subjective and personal to me. So
Yeah.
I really like that choice that Fincher chose. This is probably my favorite movie by Fincher because it's so well done artistically, and I just find the story fascinating. But
it was definitely a unique story, but the aesthetic, really brings you into, what the story's all about, which is just like the worst of humanity.
Yes.
So yeah, I think that any other way of shooting the film would probably kind of lose a little bit of what they're trying to tell you in the story. So I think that's a really important part of it was the aesthetic and just how they decided to film it and the set design and all that kind of stuff. So I thought that was really cool.
Everything looks so like every place looks trashy
and dreary. Yeah, it's
like,
just like
ugh.
I don't want to be there. Who wants to be there?
Yeah. So,
but yeah, I think that's great. And then, it's backed up with some pretty good performances.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that. I definitely don't think it was like Morgan Freeman or Brad Pitt's or Kevin Spacey's best performance. And apologies for bringing Kevin Spacey up. I know he's a
Not
only was he a villain in the movie, but apparently he was a villain in real life.
Yeah, it's it's not funny, but like him in
right?
real life kind of emphasizes how bad his villain is in that movie.
There's a reason he was good at being a villain.
Yeah,
okay.
it's like
but yeah, anyway, but I think they all did pretty. I think Morgan Freeman was kind of the anchor for the movie.
Probably. Yeah, I mean he's pretty much the main character.
Yeah, But I think his performance I was probably the most rock solid. I think Brad Pitt was good, but sometimes I felt like he was playing a little too hard on the hot-tempered detective. At some points, it seemed a little bit stereotypical or theatrical.
Yeah, that's fair.
So
I got to be honest. I think that's my favorite Brad Pitt role. I agree with you. Like it's super. It can be over the top sometimes with like how hot-headed he can be, but I just love it so much. Like I love his look. And I love the way he like carries himself in the movie, and when he like snaps at people and stuff like that, it just like it adds more tension to the story itself. And when everything happens in the end, where the final reveal happens, it's like wow, I get it now. I get why Kevin Spacey chose him because it's like
they had he was. I mean, and that's the reason that they were. In the movie, they had all those moments of him losing his temper, was so that at the end it made sense.
Yeah, and at the end, I think that's one of his best moments in his acting career is him with the gun. He's like, "Oh God, what's in the box?" Yeah. I love that scene because it's.
I disagree. Good. I mean, I like the scene. I think he did good, but I disagree. I don't think it was his best. But it was. Yeah.
What would you say is his best performance?
I mean, Fight Club is good. He was solid in Fight Club. He's been good in so many things. It's hard to like say what his best role is, but I just feel like some of what he was doing in the film was a little forced.
It's fair.
But it also could be because I've seen him in so many things.
That's true.
That I'm like I know that's not his baseline. So he's kind of outside of his comfort zone in that role.
Towards the beginning of his career too. Yeah. So I think he was trying to make himself stand out.
And maybe he was trying a little too hard in some places. It wasn't like egregious or anything. He did a great job. He really did. I mean, it's definitely a great performance. I do like him in the role, and I think the role was really cool. It did fit him. He did a good job with it, and it bounced really well off Morgan Freeman. And that
their dynamic is good.
Their chemistry is good in that movie. But I just wouldn't say that that's like one of his best roles.
That's fair. Yeah. I definitely don't think that it's Morgan Freeman's best role, even though he's probably equally as good as Brad Pitt in that movie. But yeah, he's just.
But Morgan Freeman's on he's on another level there. Yeah. So
I mean, Brad Pitt might be reaching that level soon. He's he's big, but like at that point, I think Morgan Freeman had. I don't know. I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Like, and then Kevin Spacey too. Like, he's probably better in like The Usual Suspects and American Beauty and stuff. But still, I'd say this is one of his best roles too. I just love how they, like, especially in the car towards the end, the dynamic with them three.
Yeah.
It's insane. It's ridiculous.
They were all playing their roles perfectly.
So I just really it's just one of my like favorite dynamics in film.
I could definitely see that and appreciate that perspective. I mean, I think it was great. It's a great movie. It's very disturbing.
It's very
the
disturbing.
first time you watch it, you're just kind of like thrown off out of your comfort zone. So
it's gross.
Movie. And they do that in a unique way with the aesthetic, with the performances, with the story. The story itself, I mean, talk a little bit about that. I think builds really well.
Yes, I agree.
And I think
they have like milestones throughout.
They do,
They hit with the sins and stuff.
Yeah,
it kind of changes. Like every time they hit a different sin, their character changes a little bit more.
Yeah,
So
and I think that the way that it kind of built on itself, and you're kind of going through this story with Brad Pitt and Morgan Freeman. Everything slowly starts to make sense, and then you get this big twist at the end. But it's not really a twist. It actually it really kind of makes sense.
It makes sense. You just don't think about it.
Yeah, you didn't think
what is he gonna do?
Yeah, you didn't see that coming, but you're like, oh wow, that's devious. And the way that they built the characters, right? Like Morgan Freeman is the calm intellect who's trying to like reason his way through this. Brad Pitt is the just
good cop, bad cop type deal.
Yeah, but he's the guy that is kind of like, no, screw this. We just need to go find this guy and
he's right.
Just kill him, right? Yeah. But Morgan Freeman's like, just slow down. We've got to figure this out. And then you don't really see Kevin Spacey until like probably 2/3 of the way through the movie, so you don't really get a sense of him too much until it's towards the very end. So you're really just married to Brad Pitt and Morgan Freeman through the entire movie. Like you said, you're basically following through all of these different scenes. The only exception is like a few with Gwyneth Paltrow, which she's great in the movie too. And the way that they kind of told the story from that perspective and kind of built the clues, and you kind of went through the story with them. I think it was pretty cool.
It's nice. Yeah. I like how they progressed through there.
Yeah.
I do wish that they, I feel like some small parts of the movie were a little bit like, all right, hurry along. Like Pride. Yeah. Pride was a little bit like, okay, I guess, but it doesn't have the weight that like Greed did, or Lust, or
they fast forward through that one.
They were like, okay, the runtime's getting a little long. We're losing some budget. Let's just get through Pride.
Which sin do we cut a little bit?
Yeah, and they chose that one, which is probably
the weakest.
The one I would have cut a little bit more, but I would have liked to be a little bit more, focused
understand
on
it a little more. Yeah,
and I also would have liked to see more of Kevin Spacey's perspective, like at some point throughout the movie, maybe. Like I do like the approach they took with like him being a mystery, because that adds to the tension, it adds to the horror of it. But I would have, like, once he revealed himself, I would have liked to see more of like what process he went through.
That's a good point. Like they didn't really. I mean, they gave like the car ride with them three is I think supposed to be
telling.
That's the point where they reveal a lot of like motive and understand the characters' motivations a little bit better, but they still don't clearly lay out like what drove Kevin Spacey to that conclusion.
Yeah, like what happened to him?
Yeah, where is this coming from?
Just
like
a psychopath, or is he just like trauma, or
right? So what was that? What was that catalyst that made him who he is?
Exactly.
So that backstory behind him, I don't expect like a whole movie on him, but they just kind of gave you he's a religious nut job, you know, excuse, and that was like, kind of all it was.
It's like fine, like it works.
Yeah.
But I definitely would have liked.
Could have gone deeper there. Yeah. I think that we could have used another 10, 15 minutes in the movie with more backstory on him somehow. Not in the car ride necessarily, but somehow they maybe
'Cause he was there, like,
they
they
uncovered it or something.
Yeah, they could have interrogated him like in the room, and given us a little bit more about like why, like his flaws, like why he is this way, So, well, I mean, he's obviously very flawed, but like to showcase like his flaws,
Yep.
So
yeah, that's a good point. I just think that they could have gone further with that. But they gave us enough for it to be satisfying. It just wasn't, it could have been more. I think the other piece of the story, which is the ending itself.
Yes.
Right. And the big reveal. Right. And again, spoiler alert if you haven't seen it.
Yes, very big spoiler alert.
Yeah. But when he opens the box and it's, Gwyneth Paltrow's head, I mean, you don't see it, but it's obviously heavily implied.
Yes.
And then all of that's clicking in the moment. Like,
it's like,
Morgan Freeman is putting the pieces
cooked
together. He's like, he's like looking at her head, and he's looking at Brad Pitt.
Holding the gun to his head.
And he's like, oh, he's Wrath. Like, he figures it out like right then. He's like, oh,
put the gun down,
because he knew exactly what was going to happen. That was just such a devious, clever ending.
It's so good.
For the bad guy.
That plot twist.
Yeah.
It is one of my favorite plot twists in all of film, because it's like it hits you like a brick.
So I mean, that ending though, did you agree with the character's decision?
Yes.
And if you haven't seen it, and if you don't mind us telling you, he plays the bad guy's game and he kills him on the spot, and he becomes Wrath. Yes. So he is the final sin. So Brad Pitt is the final sin. He kills Kevin Spacey in Wrath because he killed his wife. But at the same time, you're like, and
it's like and when I first watched the movie, I was like, he let the villain win. Like he won. Like he got exactly what he wanted. But now watching it, I'm like, okay, okay,
you're dead.
You're dead now. Good riddance.
Did you really win?
Yeah. I don't think. I think it was just his sick way of thinking he won. Yeah. But in reality, he lost.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not gonna. I don't know.
Yeah. And I think that anybody who was put in a position like that would be at least heavily tempted to do the same thing.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
So I mean,
it's just like, I don't know.
You just killed the guy. Not just killed his wife, but decapitated his pregnant wife.
Yeah. Because you got to think about the alternative, right? If he didn't kill him, right, he wouldn't have gotten what he wanted, right, which is good. But he would just be like sitting in a prison cell, possibly could be released at some point and start like doing more heinous shit.
Yeah.
And and like Brad Pitt would still not have the satisfaction of revenge. He would feel that for the rest of his life. The guy is still breathing, and he would never have a chance to kill him.
Yeah. No justice in that.
And so, like, I think this was definitely the lesser of two evils.
Yeah.
Because he's going to go to prison for like 5-10 years because it's like second degree murder. It's not premeditated. Yeah. So it's just like
crime of passion.
It's a crime of passion, and he's a detective, and everybody is gonna sympathize with him.
Yeah.
So it's like he's not gonna go to prison for that long, and he got the satisfaction of killing his wife's killer.
Yeah.
So it's like I think he definitely should have killed him. I think it was not a good ending, but the lesser of two evils.
Yeah. Yes. So but the way that weaved it into the story.
It's absolutely
really well done. Yeah.
It's really good.
Okay, so I mean, before we're gonna play a little game with sins.
Yeah.
But before we do, let's rank the movie. Okay.
So I'm tempted to give it a 10 out of 10. This is and has been always one of my favorite movies. It hits me every time I watch it. I always have that tension in my heart for when that ending comes, because the whole time you're thinking like it's not that bad. They're gonna catch the guy. It's just a normal, crime movie type deal. But you realize it's a lot. Like once you know the ending, you know how disturbing this movie is.
Yeah.
When he decapitates his pregnant wife, you just have that weighing on your soul. waiting for Brad Pitt to find out at the very end, and once it finally happens, you just kind of sit there like, damn. And it's hard for a movie to make me feel that way on a rewatch. You know, like watching it for the first time, a movie, like it's like obviously you get the catharsis. And I'm not a fan of rewatching movies most of the time. I don't like rewatching movies because I know it's going to happen. But this movie, it affects me whenever I watch it. Like throughout the whole movie, I have this tension that a lot of movies don't give me. And I don't know why it affects me the way it does, but it does. And so I'm tempted to give it a 10.
Okay.
So I probably won't. I'd probably say like a 9.5 because there are a couple flaws, but I still would give it like a 9.5. This is one of my favorite movies.
Is it S class?
It is S tier. Definitely an S tier movie. Okay. Very few flaws.
Okay.
And how do you feel?
I'm not as passionate about as you are, but I do definitely like the movie, and I've seen it a few times, and I think it's a good movie. Well done. I see a few more flaws in it than you do, I think, but I would say it's probably an A tier, and I would give it probably like a 7.5, maybe.
Valid.
Yeah,
that's valid.
But I like the movie. So.
Yeah, I also kind of find like the serial killer aspect of it, like the 7 Deadly Sins serial killer thing, like so fascinating.
Yeah. And it was. I mean, there's several of those types of movies in that era of movie making, like the 90s. But this one is a standout. This one is
very
done differently and unique. Yeah. So that's what I really like about it. And just some like really gross, disturbing scenes, and they do a good job really kind of grossing you out.
Yeah.
So it's always fun.
It's always a movie that I recommend to people who don't really watch movies. Like it's one of those like I feel like you have to watch at some point, in my opinion, just because it's so immersive and it has like this vibe that can bring any audience in, you know.
Yeah.
It's very dark, very disturbing, but you know, if you're looking for something that's gonna put you on the edge of your seat and make your heart, you know, beat faster,
that's the one.
That's one of those movies. So
that's good. Yeah, that's a good point, especially the first time you watch it. So,
but 7.5, honestly, valid.
Yeah,
it's a valid pick. So you know, I feel like it's hard to make this video and talk about this movie without talking about the sins themselves. So, how would you rank these sins from we'll start with the best of them to the worst.
Okay. Okay. So, well, first of all, just for everyone's benefit, the 7 deadly sins are gluttony, sloth, pride, envy, greed, lust, and wrath. Right.
Yes.
And that's what the movie takes you through, and what the serial killer is slowly executing his victims and staging his victims around is those sins.
Yeah.
So of those sins, to me,
I'll give a brief brief explanation of each one in case people don't know. Gluttony is like overindulgence, you know, like eating too much or
drinking too much,
you know, just like heavy
enjoying yourself too much.
Heavy consumerism.
Yeah.
Sloth is like laziness. Pride is
pride. Everyone is pride.
Envy is envy.
Yeah. You want what somebody else has.
Yes. Greed is greed. Lust is like heavy sexual desire. I think it's more nuanced than that, but that's pretty much what it is. And then wrath is like, you know, anger,
violence and anger.
Violence, you know, hatred, anger, all that stuff. So, brief explanations for people who need those, but how would you rank them?
I think, I don't know. It's kind of hard. I would say
it is very hard because some of them are, I don't know.
I would say
they're all
like
bad, but
they're all bad, but they're all very human. They're also human emotions.
Yes.
And that's what's hard about it, because you say these things, oh, that's a sin, but it's like, but it's a lot of these are natural instincts that we have to kind of try and control, and you know, we hate ourselves for it sometimes, and you know, it's hard to describe these things sometimes because there's so much nuance involved.
I guess
I would say
better way of putting it is at their worst, which is Like, how would you rate
Yeah.
them at their worst?
I think greed is probably one of the worst things because it is pure selfishness, right? Greed and pride to a certain extent, because pride can cause us to do so many bad things, and hate other people or think we're better than other people or not do what's right because we're afraid of hurting our own pride. There's so many like dumb decisions we make because of pride. And greed to me is just a very selfish thing. Like I want what I want for me and for nobody else, and there's no excuse for that. Like
there's no excuse.
There's no excuse for that. Like some of these other things, we all struggle with, like gluttony. I mean, we all struggle with not eating that extra donut, or not.
And even like wrath, like you
everyone gets angry, and it's hard to say that.
We take
that's
it out
horrible.
on people.
So it's a matter of like when you've gone too far.
Yeah.
With some of these things, like when you're with envy, right? Do you see what somebody else has and go, man, I wish I had that? Yeah. Everyone does that, right? But do you obsess about it?
That's why I say at their worst. So let's say, for example, like wrath, you murder people. Right. You get so angry, you will kill somebody.
Yeah.
We'll do it like that, or like.
But I think greed can take you to that level too.
Greed, yeah, I agree. Or like with envy, you don't just desire somebody else's stuff, you steal. You know, you steal people's stuff. I
think that, so that's a good point, but I think that, I'll go back to greed still, because I think that the one thing that greed is, it's self-generated, it's self-propelled, whereas something like wrath is you being provoked. Right, you hurt me or you hurt someone I love, and now I'm angry about that. I want to hurt you. Whether I'm right in that or wrong is different. But you're provoking that in me, and I'm having wrath towards you. Whereas greed is, I'm just a greedy person, and I want to hurt someone else, or I want to take something from somebody else, or I want to prevent somebody else from having something that they equally deserve that I want. First, because I'm putting myself first. To me, that's just ugly. I don't know what it is, but that greed thing just really sticks out in my head. The other ones I feel like are less. I don't like lust. Okay, let's talk about lust for a second.
Lust at its worst is probably one of the worst, because that's like rape and stuff. Like that's
okay. If you take it to that degree, okay, yeah, you're right.
It's probably up like that. That's where it gets hard, because it's like. How can you put some of these over the other? But
like when I think about lust, I don't think of it going that far. But you're right. If I always think of lust as like somebody just checking someone else out or something like that. But yeah, that's true. At its worst,
I think it's probably easy to do the ones that are the best of those, like
the least.
Because like sloth, at least you're not like hurting anybody else. With that, you're just like hurting your own life.
Yeah.
So I'd probably say like sloth is the best out of those.
Okay.
I mean, you could impact somebody's life if you have to take care of somebody.
Yeah,
and you're lazy.
Okay.
But
so let's put sloth there.
I think sloth be at the bottom.
Okay.
Maybe gluttony as well. It's also another one. Kind of hurts yourself more than others. Probably put that one above. I think the thing that makes gluttony worse is that it's just like, I don't know. It's
a form of greed.
Yeah, it is a form of greed.
Unless you have a problem and you just can't help yourself, like some people, overindulge because of anxiety and other problems like that. But people who just overindulge to overindulge.
Like alcohol abuse.
Well, that's like a problem.
It's like an example. Yeah, I guess that's
some people could have a disease, but there are, I think, people that just don't give a crap about anything and they just overindulge. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I think that's kind of its own form of greed. So you could probably camp that
over sloth.
Yeah. So, but you're right. I mean, it's more about hurting yourself than anybody else. So I think that's probably number 2.
I'd probably put envy right after that, because that's like a non-violent thing. Like, you are affecting other people. If you are envious to the worst degree, you are affecting people by, like, you'll probably steal. And you'll probably hate people because they have stuff over you, which makes you intolerable. But it's not violent in any way, and it doesn't have like a huge effect on other people, And before we go to the next one, I think one thing that makes greed extra bad is that it has such a widespread effect on people. Like greed is something that we experience in America every single day, every minute.
Our whole economy is based on it.
Is based on greed, yeah. And so, and in history, greed has had such a massive effect on huge populations because people who are greedy end up at the top for the most part, and they, spit down on everybody below them. So I think that's what makes them extra bad is their widespread effect.
That's fair.
So now I'd say it probably gets harder because this is when it gets really bad. But
I would say, okay, so we've got sloth, then gluttony, then envy. I would say pride.
Yeah.
Would be the next one because pride's like, it just causes us to do stupid things that most of the time hurt ourselves more than anybody else with our own stupid pride.
It brings you down for the most part.
Right, it does. It causes you to obsess and worry about all the wrong things. So yeah, I'd say pride is up there, but pride can drive you to do
pretty horrible stuff.
Some pretty horrible things. Yeah, I mean,
a good example of that is like Walter White. He is the definition of horrible pride.
Yeah.
So if you look at that, that's probably the worst you can get when it comes to pride, and so that's why I probably put it above envy. But it's also like not as bad as the other ones can be. Yeah. So I'd probably put that one there.
Okay, that's fair. I can agree with that. And then I think wrath.
Yeah.
Because like I said, I think wrath is, because if you look at wrath in the context of what happened in the movie in Seven, right? It can be justified, right? I mean, we're reacting to something that's been done to us. In some cases, wrath is a terrible thing and
scary and violent.
Scary, violent, and completely unnecessary. But it isn't a widespread thing, right?
It can be, but if you look at war, anger kind of fuels war. So it's like
that's true. Yeah,
it fuels
so
people
does pride.
to go kill each other. Yeah, pride too. Yeah,
so
that's why it's kind of hard.
That's a tough one. Yeah,
but wrath, for the most part, can be very personal.
I see it as like a personal. I think we have to find a way to try to trim this down a little bit because you could interpret these things in all kinds of different ways.
Yes, you're right.
So if you look at wrath as a strictly personal kind of problem,
because it usually is.
It usually is. That's what I would say.
The reason why it's so high is because you literally harm people, with wrath. Like you make people feel like if you verbally
abuse
people,
or physically,
make people feel horrible, and you kill them, stuff like that.
That's true.
I think that's why it's up there, but it is like more personal.
And then I would put greed and then lust.
Yeah, because lust, I mean, at its worst is probably, lust normally is not, it is bad, but it's not, it's like nowhere near some of the other stuff on its normal basis. But when you put it at its worst, I agree.
Yeah, at its worst, it's, I didn't even think to go that far with it, but okay. We gotta put that one at the top.
Yeah, but greed is a very interesting one. Yeah. That if we're talking about on a normal basis, I'd probably put greed at the top as well.
Yeah, because greed it can be a very personal thing, but greed at a personal level across a wide population and as part of a culture just leads to very bad things.
Yeah, greed is never good. You know, like gluttony, you can overindulge, but at least you're living your life. Sloth, same thing. Envy, we are all envious. But if you're greedy, normally, it's like, ugh,
and it leads you to make bad decisions.
Yeah,
and do things for the wrong reasons. Yeah. Yes. So, and it's to me that's one of the worst sins that we talked about here, and in the context of the wider world, I think it's one of the biggest problems we have.
Yes, so. I agree. Even not just in America, I think
everywhere. It's a glable problem.
It is a global problem.
We're just
it's a historical problem. It's been happening since BC.
Yeah, it's just more obvious in America because of the way that we all the consumerism and commercialism and all that stuff. But
okay, I think that's a good list.
Yeah.
I think
So there you go. Tell us if you disagree or how you would rank those.
Comment. Tell us we're stupid and that these sins are worse than the others for this specific reason. Totally
Leave religion
fine.
out of it. We're not talking about religion here. This is just like
We're not. Leave religion out. Just at the basis of human.
Human emotion, human
emotions.
how we define these and how we act as human beings, and some of the worst instincts we have.
Let us know what you think. Let us know what you think.
But thanks for watching. Yeah,
thanks for watching, guys.
Where can they find us?
Follow us on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Instagram, TikTok, all that good stuff. Leave comments wherever available. Telling us what you thought of our opinions, and we will see you guys in the next episode.
Thanks for watching.